Hi everyone, it's Laura with Following the Paper Trail, and it's Tag Tuesday. I'm still working on some tags for my Tag Your It album, and this one is a real simple, quick and easy one that I did some stamping on, I did some coloring on, and I also made these cute tiny little epoxy-like brads from regular brads, taking straight from my nail lady who does these little flowers on Sarah's nails when Sarah would get her nails done, and I watched how she did it, and so I copied that onto a brad. So I just took it right out from under her. So anyway, I'm going to show you how to make those sweet little brads as well. This was a super quick tag to make. To start with, I took my number 8 tag and I stamped it using my Stampers Anonymous Tim Holtz Papillon series stamp, using this large, oh sorry, try not to get that reflection in there, but using this large alpha letters stuff, I don't know what all to call that, script, there we go, using this script stamp. Which is one of my favorites. It's just a really great, gives you a nice great stamp. And I stamped that one with Adirondack Lake Mist ink. This is a really cool ink. It's kind of a gray, but it's a real warmish tone gray. Makes great background color. So that's how I got my background for my stamp. After I did that, I then wanted to give it some more color. So I took some of my distressed inks, and I'm using Antique Linen to start with, and this one I'm going to just kind of give it some all over color, and I'm just taking my distressing tool here, and I'm just kind of giving it some uneven all over color by just swirling on some of this this Antique Linen. Give some darker spots, maybe keep some spots without much ink on them at all, but just kind of giving it a good swirl of uneven coverage over the whole stamp. And then I'm going to take my Vintage Photo, and here I'm going to give it a little bit more, swirl a little bit more in some areas that I already had darkened up a little bit. And then I'm also going to go around the edge of my tag and just really darken up along that edge. So giving it just a nice distressed kind of look. So that was with my Vintage Photo. So then once I've got that done, what I did here for this center section is I stamped on a piece of the paper that I'm using. This collection is called Out of Print by Basic Gray. So, excuse me. This is one of the solid-ish looking papers. It's a pink with some white in it. So I stamped an image from a Hero Art stamps that are made for Basic Gray to coordinate with this collection. And I use this one that says Little Sweet One. So I stamped that on a piece of the paper and I cut it close to the edge of the stamp. I then did some coloring on it, and I used my Prismacolor colored pencils, a little bit of the green, and just go over it really lightly to start with, because you can just add more layers onto it. So, oh, and the stamp itself, I stamped that with Ranger Archival ink in Jet Black. I forgot to tell you that part. So, but just go through and add some color, maybe two-tone the leaves a little bit, adds a little bit of brighter kind of. Then I did yellow towards the centers of the flowers, and then I added some kind of pinkish reddish color to the outside, and just go with a real light hand, and then you can add, because you can always add more. So here's what I did on the finished one. I won't take the time of finishing it all off, but two-toned the flowers, two-toned the leaves, and then after I got through coloring it, I again took my Vintage Photo and just aged it a little bit. Then just to give it a neat little shadow line around that edge and some dimensions, I used some scrapbook adhesive foam squares, and these are cool because they're black. They're out of black foam, and I like that because there's nothing worse to me is just look on the side and you see a nice shadow, but then there's white along that edge. So by using the black foam squares, it doesn't look as obvious that you have it popped up with foam. Then to do my flowers, I just took some Prima, just the, you can get a canister of these plain white flowers, and I wanted to use my Distress Stains to color them, but I didn't want to use such intense color. So what I did is on my craft sheet, I just put a little bit of the color. This is Wild Honey, which is more of an orange, but by adding some squirt of water to it, I can tone down that color. Find my brush. I can then mix that all up. I can then paint that on to my flowers and get a much softer color. So I did that with Wild Honey and then dry it. I just use my heat tool then to dry it. But you get more of a pastel color by watering it down. The other color I used was sponge sugar. So, and I did the bigger one with the sponge sugar. I'm not going to take the time to paint all those. Of course, I can't find what I did with my paper towel. Oh, that was nice. With my paper towel, so use that one. So you can see where I did the large flower with pink with a yellow center flower, and I did a yellow flower with a pink center flower. I then, with a little Fisker's punch out some tiny little black flowers out of cardstock. And then to do these, I also did a little bit of distressing with my vintage photo just to give some aging to the flowers. Then to make these cute little, almost epoxy looking brads, I have a couple of an American Craft brads. These are the medium sized one. They're a nice size. And then I use nail polish. I haven't tried it with anything other than nail polish, but I suppose you can try it with other things. So, and I just did it right here onto my craft sheet, and then you can use toothpicks, or I didn't have any toothpicks for some reason, so I had some bamboo skewers. So I'm going to just take, actually I want the white first. Let's do the white. I just took some white nail enamel. With an 11-year-old daughter, we have every nail enamel color known to man these days. So, and I'm just going to take this, and I'm just going to make around the perimeter 5 little dots. And I've just taken a piece of foam that I've gotten other brads in, and I just stuffed the brads down in there as an easier way to hold it. So I've just done 5 little dots. Let me do both of them at the same time. I didn't really mean to connect those 2 dots on that one, but while it's still wet, you can wipe it off. You don't like how your dots came out. Okay, so then I'm going to take some pink and put that on my craft sheet. And again, while this is still wet, I want to add the pink in there as well. So I just do 5 little dots even closer together on the center. Guess I shouldn't have drank that cup of coffee right before I did this, huh? Then if you want, you can also take and draw it out away from the center using your stick. This is where toothpicks work a little bit better because they're not quite as fat. Okay, so then I'm going to take a little bit of green. It's amazing the colors they have. I tried this with some of that smoosh stuff too. Didn't work as well. Again, it works best just to put it on your craft sheet and use the pointy stick. Just do a tiny little drop to create your center. Now if you did it really like they do on the fingernails, you have a little tiny rhinestone that goes there too. And then while this stuff is still wet on my craft sheet, go ahead and wipe that right off. But don't those look cute? And then I just took, after they dry, I took some glossy accents and domed some of the glossy accent on the top, and that's what gives it that super shine. So they look like little epoxy brads. So layered my flowers all up, attached them to my tag, added a little piece of ribbon that I also had dyed with some distress stains, and we've got a cute, sweet, little sweet one tag that we can add to our Tag Your It mini album. So anyway, that was a fun, fast, and easy. So try make some of these cute epoxy-like brads using some nail enamel. A lot of fun, really easy to do. So we'll see you next Tuesday. Thanks a bunch.